remember the year 1994 like it was yesterday, man. I remember I was 14 years old. It was beginning of the second season after Michael Jordan's retirement in October 93. 1993-94 season was the first year after his retirement. For the first season after he announced his retirement. The league was kind of in transition then. You know, you had some of the older players no longer in their primes or retiring. Like Larry Bird had been retired for a couple of years at a time. Matt Johnson was pretty much retired. Well, he was retired. They had other guys like Bernard King had retired. Dominique Wilkins was still in the league, but he was starting to, get older. Tom Chambers was no longer the force he was. Just different people, players. Rolando Blackman had retired. It was a lot of different guys from the 80s, that decade that had faded off. So the NBA needed new talent and new guys. And I remember 1994 because of the fact that you had two guys who came in who, to me, electrified the NBA and were one of the best players of their generations, and that would be Grant Hill and Jason Kidd. Fairly to Grant Hill, Jason Kidd is the one that went on to have the much healthier career, and he is a certified Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. Jason Kidd going to the Hall of Fame. There is much doubt whether Grant Hill makes the Hall of Fame. It is. And what's so remarkable about that is at their peaks, if you go peak for peak, Jason Kidd can't touch Grant Hill. Grant Hill in his prime was argued, and I say this with conviction. I can't say he definitely was, but arguably, Grant Hill was the best all-around player in the NBA, I would say, for at least a 2-year span, from 1996 to 1998, and that's an all-around player. Now, Michael Jordan was the best player, but Michael Jordan was not quite what he was in his 1987 to 92 prime. I think he was starting to fall off a little bit as a player, even that last year with the Bulls, before he retired the first time. Even though he was clearly the best player, still he was starting to lose a little bit of his athleticism. And I think that was one of the reasons why in that year you saw him go to the basket a little bit more. I guess he was trying to shut his haters up. You think about the NBA Finals, even though strategically it could have been that the Suns didn't really have a real dominating inside presence. And also, I remember from different games in the regular season, I remember him going at Alonzo Mourning and whatnot. But anyway, I don't want to go on about him. This video is about Grant Hill. But it was just unfair for Grant Hill, what happened to his career. Try to go on Basketball Reference. So I look at some things about Grant Hill. So I see, he announced his retirement today during a pregame show for today's game against the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. He announced his retirement today. I see that for his career, Grant Hill scored 17,137 points. These are cumulative totals. If you look at per game averages, of course, career he averaged 60.7 points. I think that's pretty much on par with what Scottie Pippen averaged for his career, if I remember correctly. 6 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.2 steals. Shot 40% from the field, 31% from the three-point line, and that's kind of, that might not jump out at you, but I remember early on in his career, Grant Hill was not a particularly good three-point shooter, and he improved a lot in that area. He was, for his career, about 77% from the foul line. So Grant Hill was a very good all-around player. And what's unfortunate is that from after that period of time when he was playing, I remember it was the 2000 1999-2000 season, and I'm trying to go by memory. If somebody in the comment section can correct me if I'm a little bit mistaken, but if I recall correctly, Grant Hill fractured his foot toward the end of that season, and he decided to play in the playoff series. And I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been against. I can't remember who he played against in the playoffs right offhand, but I think it might have been the Orlando Magic. We're playing Detroit Pistons in the first round series. I can't remember who exactly it was anymore, but he played on a fractured foot, and he never was the same after that. He started having repeated injury issues. I remember in 2003 he nearly died of a staph infection. It took him a long time to recover from that. You can still, he showed the scar on his foot from the surgery, and it's ghastly. I mean, it's, and I look right now, and started like in 2000-2001 season. He only played in 4 regular season games, and all the way to 2006 really. So from age 28 all the way to age 33, 34 years old, Grant Hill had numerous injuries. Missed, I don't know, I'm just guessing off the top of my head here, he probably missed 100 and maybe 50 games or so. No, maybe more than that, because let me see, 2,078 games, then he missed 68. No, that's way more than 150 games. I'm mistaken. He might have missed 250, 300 games. So it's crazy. I mean, it's just, those were his absolute prime years. So it's, I just feel, man, it's just amazing, man. He still was able to come back from that and still play at a pretty high level, a very high level, not the level he once played at, but he still, to me, I think he can still be a Hall of Famer. He's definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's one of those guys that can eventually get into the Hall, man. I mean, maybe I'm being biased, man. I know I am. I know I'm being biased with this, and I try not to be biased, but I really like this guy, man. I mean, he's one of the good persons. You have a lot of people that are in the Hall of Fame right now, and you don't put people in the Hall of Fame by personality. If that was the case, a guy like Ty Cobb would never be in the fucking Hall of Fame if I had something to do with it. But if it was personality, but you have a lot of people in the Hall of Fame who are remarkable players, but are enormously unlikable and individuals. There are some people who are just downright disgusting individuals. But like anybody will tell you, it's not about personality, it's about the game and how they play the game. But Grant Hill is one of those persons who I really would like to see, just from the sheer effort it took for him to come back to play. I mean, folks, he had injuries that 99.9% of people would not have come back from. I remember him coming back from injury and then having another setback and then taking another year to come back, all these grueling surgeries, all this grueling rehabilitation, getting back in shape, and then playing 20 games, 21 games and having another injury. I mean, mentally, most people would have just said, you know what, to hell with this, I can't do it anymore. But he kept persevering, and then by his mid-30s, he became healthy. And he played, and it was like one of those what-if things. Like, what if he had gave up? But he came back, and it's reminiscent of somebody like Bernard King. Had one of the most devastating knee injuries. Came back, played at a Hall of Fame level for about a year or two, and he showed that he could come back from that. And this was during the 80s, when the advancements in technologies were nothing compared to what they are now. So, Grant Hill, it was a pleasure watching you. I remember you in your prime with the Detroit Pistons. You were an amazing player. I'll never admit it, but you were the only player during that time period that And I remember I loved. I mean, I was a Michael Jordan fan, man. That's the only guy that made me a little nervous about Jordan's supremacy as the best player in the league. You know, on Grant Hill's game was just incredible to watch. For anybody that's younger, he was sort of like a smaller, slightly less athletic version of LeBron. I thought that he was, for his size, a better rebounder than LeBron. However, not that LeBron's a horrible rebounder, but I thought that I think sometimes that LeBron is not the best offensive rebounder. I think LeBron gets a lot of his rebounds off the defensive end, but Grant Hill was, I think, a little bit better rebounder than LeBron. But all around, LeBron was a better player, but Grant Hill was not shabby in his prime, man. I mean, he was up there, and I think I think Grant Hill should eventually be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, just for the inspirational player that he is. And I know you can't put somebody in because they're a good guy, but like I always say, man, you know, if a guy like Bill Mazeroski can get into the Baseball Hall of Fame, man, and that's not a knock on him, but I mean, I think Grant Hill has done enough to warrant Hall of Fame status, man. I really do. And I hate to see you go, Grant Hill. You're one of the good guys in the NBA. And thank you for your efforts in your career. Us fans of the game really appreciated you. And I hope you success in your future endeavors, man. Peace.